What Dragovich only managed with a single subject, we shall do to entire nations. What we do in Verdansk will pave the way for the rise of Greater Russia.
What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and I have a packed video here for you guys today talking about Season 3 trailers, the confirmed release date of DLC 2 Zombies, and even some other interesting announcements that may include Buried. Definitely stay tuned. But before I jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below to ensure that you're up to date with absolutely everything going on right now in both Black Ops Cold War and Warzone. There's so much information pouring in all at once, and I'm going to be breaking it down as best as I can. And I also enjoy the beautiful Mount Yeventau gameplay in the background, playing some Zombies Onslaught on this wonderful map. And for a couple of months it was speculated that Zombies would come to Mount Yeventau at some point. We thought it could have been for an actual DLC map, but it was actually referring to Onslaught. But this map plays great and obviously plays even better in multiplayer, which you'll see more gameplay of in some future videos. But the Hunt for Adler event is now live in both Black Ops Cold War and Warzone. I'll be posting a separate video tomorrow showing you guys how to complete that as fast as possible, and by doing that you unlock an exclusive skin for Adler. Now, as I predicted, not a single trailer was released for Season 3 because the trailers contain spoilers of Verdansk 84, but Treyarch officially published a Season 3 intro earlier this morning, which has our new character Wraith storming Mount Yeventau to steal the numbers data while also blowing up the base, as Stitch says that Moscow will blame the Americans for destroying Yeventau. So Stitch plans on continuing Dragovich's plan for Black Ops 1, except this time not creating one sleeper agent, but many over in Verdansk to make way for a greater Russia. So seems like Adler is locked in the hospital and will likely go through exactly what Bell did in the Black Ops Cold War campaign, and could even turn on us at some point, causing us to have to kill him. So I'm very curious what the future of the story holds with a brainwashed Adler. Treyarch then confirmed that a new Double XP and Double Weapon XP event will take place from April the 23rd to April the 26th, but that's not all. They released an exclusive studio broadcast on their YouTube channel earlier today where they broke down everything being added to multiplayer Zombies and even Warzone. It was then confirmed by a Raven developer that traditional Verdansk is never coming back, and that private matches are now back in Warzone, allowing you to now set up games on the beautiful map known as Rebirth. So the finale of the Nuke event took place earlier this morning, and some of us out there didn't get a chance to take part in it because of the server queue issue, but it gave us different perspective as to how Verdansk got nuked to begin with. We actually launched the nuke itself from Rebirth to Verdansk, and after doing so, it would show you in the cutscene that you're being time traveled back to 1984 onto Verdansk 84, and then spawn you into a brand new match with the same lobby on the new Warzone experience. So I'll give my honest thoughts and review of the quote-unquote live nuke event in tomorrow's podcast. I won't go off on a tangent in this video, but I know a lot of people out there had different expectations for what they were going to do in this event. They also released the gameplay trailer just showcasing Verdansk 84, which I thought would have dropped before the season even started, but it kind of makes sense why they waited until this live event to be over before showcasing any early gameplay of the map. So taking a quick look at all the new locations on Verdansk 84, the new Gulag in Verdansk is the main street of Standoff, while Standoff has also replaced the farmland area on top of that, and then we know the Standoff is also coming to Black Ops Cold War multiplayer with the mid-season update for Season 3 in about a month's time. So Summit has replaced the dam, which looks incredible, but the salt mines also replaced the quarry, which I think is interesting. I never really dropped at the quarry anyway, so looking forward to how these new locations kind of change my opinion of the map of Verdansk. There's also a new point of interest known as the Old Mine, where the forest used to be on Verdansk, but the interior of the salt mine is closed off. So here's what I'm thinking, right? A lot of people out there already pointed this out on Twitter as well. Could the interior of this old salt mine be our good old town of Buried from Black Ops 2 Zombies? You guys might be like, well, it's a bit of a stretch, but don't forget, they actually pulled this off already in Blackout a good, 2 years ago? When Ghost Town got introduced in Blackout, we had essentially a town above ground, which was also a Standoff remake, kind of a coincidence, and then underground, we then had the entirety of Buried beautifully remastered to match the aesthetic of Black Ops 4, and it was actually an expansion of Buried that contained the ability to go into the tunnels and some other areas that weren't previously accessible in the original Buried. So could Buried be added to the interior of this old mine in a future update? Surely, right? And then if that happens, that essentially confirms that a remaster of Buried will finally come to Black Ops Cold War Zombies at some point in time. We've obviously been waiting ages for something about what's happening with those Victis remakes. They were essentially in development and nearly complete for Black Ops 4, but got put on an indefinite hold for a number of reasons. So I think Black Ops Cold War would be the best time to release those remakes. And we've also heard plenty of rumors that Transit will eventually be an Outbreak experience for Black Ops Cold War. So Treyarch recently confirmed that we're going to be seeing non-Fireteam maps added to Outbreak in the future, and I think Transit is probably the best fit for an experience like that. Seeing an expanded green run in the form of an Outbreak map, which doesn't have you warp to any locations, but maybe could just have multiple objectives you can complete on that one big area of green run. We'll have to see that in the future, but it's also worth pointing out some interesting announcements that were made by Raven over in the Treyarch broadcast. They first said they are aware of requests for FOV slider on consoles, and that's not all. They then followed up by saying that they have a dedicated team working on an update for Warzone to support PS5 and Xbox Series X. They don't have a dedicated release date for any of those features, but I think whenever we do see the next-gen version of Warzone added to PS5 and Xbox Series X, that could be the time when we finally see FOV slider on those platforms. I'd be okay if they said, you know what, because of hardware limitations, we can't add FOV slider to PS4 or Xbox One because of stability issues. I'd understand that, but I definitely think PS5 and Xbox Series X could handle that at some point. And right now, Warzone isn't taking advantage of next-gen platforms at all. If you're on a PS5, you are opening up a PS4 version of Modern Warfare, which means quite a few things. So let's see whenever that happens, but I'm glad they mentioned it. They did confirm that Dark Aether Camo and Gunsmith Customs are coming to Warzone at some point in the future, but they also don't have a release date for that either. They said they need more time. So I'd hope that by Season 4 we end up seeing this, and that leads to the next point. So the Season 3 Battle Pass does reset 55 days from today, and when is that? That is going to be at some point June 16th, June 17th, 2021. That should be the launch of Season 4 for Black Ops Cold War and Warzone, unless a delay happens where they have to push back that season for an unknown amount of reasons. I think right now they're on schedule to release every season on time, which is great to hear, but Season 4 could be the actual launch of DLC 2 Zombies and of course other things that you might have been waiting for. So over in the Treyarch broadcast, it was also confirmed by Craig Houston himself, the man, that we are going to be seeing the next round-based Zombies map, and I quote, probably next season. So they did mention, yeah, the Outbreak Easter egg is still in development and should be dropping during the mid-season update of Season 3. So if that's the case, Berlin might not drop until, again, June 16th, June 17th. That is quite a bit away, but notice how he mentioned that it's probably going to release next season. So the word probably has me thinking they could pull a Firebase Z and essentially have the map finish early, which means they can drop the map early. So Firebase was originally going to be a Season 2 Zombies experience, but they ended up dropping it in Season 1 Reloaded instead. So if they end up dropping the Outbreak Easter egg during an upcoming update of Season 3, but not Season 3 Reloaded, maybe it's possible that in, 2-3 weeks, they drop the Outbreak Easter egg just as a random update during a Thursday, right? And then Season 3 Reloaded could drop a month from now, and that could feature Berlin DLC 2. That would make a lot of sense to me, because if they wait until June 16th, June 17th, that'll be the biggest gap in between Zombies maps we've ever seen. Again, Outbreak is plenty of content. I love the mode. It's going to offer quite a few new opportunities once the Easter egg is released, but looking at the gap between Firebase and Berlin, that's quite a while away. That's a good, 70 days plus another 50? I mean, that's a lot. So looking at all the previous gaps and previous Zombies iterations, we've only ever had to wait a good 2.5-3 months. But you know what? To play devil's advocate, I'm okay waiting an extended amount of time for Berlin if it's going to end up being a banger map with a very memorable Easter egg. I'm okay with that, but fingers crossed the Outbreak Easter egg releases before Season 3 Reloaded. That way, there could be a possibility we see Berlin during the Reloaded update itself. Now, Craig also mentioned that with the Outbreak Easter egg, characters that have been sidelined or kind of just hanging out in the shadows will then have a prominent role, as the storyline will be changed forever. So it's like I said in a couple of videos, right? The Outbreak Easter egg is going to set up whatever is going on in Berlin DLC 2, therefore, the Outbreak egg has to release first. So a Treyarch dev also mentioned yesterday, which I brought up in a video, that they are still working on traditional Zombies maps, but Outbreak allows them to provide more output in Zombies in between actual zombie map releases. That's why I'm thinking that Berlin shouldn't be too far away. And in Season 1 broadcast a couple of months ago, they said that Firebase would drop quote-unquote next season, but it didn't. It ended up dropping during the Reloaded updates of Season 1. So look at that wordplay there. They could be teasing us or throwing us off guard, making us think that it's going to be releasing in, a month and a half, but it could actually be much sooner than that, and they want to kind of save that as a surprise. We also have a great point made by the man himself, the Gaming Revolution, over on Twitter. He mentioned that the Ural Mountains are somehow now located next to Verdansk Verdansk 84, and I brought this up too. Geographically, nothing really makes sense in Warzone right now. They're trying to tie everything together, which I fully respect, and I appreciate the ability to kind of tell multiple stories at once and kind of weave it all together with the mode of Warzone, but somehow the Ural Mountains are relatively close to Verdansk 84, and as TGR said, it makes little sense, but it makes them feel like they could end up releasing the Ural Mountains Warzone experience after all at some point. I mean, they made a weird announcement, I think it was 2 days ago, that they already have planned Season 6 of what Verdansk is going to look like. So why would they even mention that? Could that be a hint that alongside Verdansk 84 we'll end up seeing the Ural Mountains added to Warzone as well? So again, think about that, right? Maybe they don't have a World War II era Verdansk planned out, and instead of releasing a World War II Warzone, they'll just drop Ural Mountains during Season 6 as COD 2021 ends up releasing, what, a couple of weeks after that? Sure. But I honestly believe that if Fireteam Elimination ends up being fairly successful in Black Ops Cold War, that could make Activision consider releasing the Ural Mountains, which is already all of the Fireteam maps combined into one big experience. Maybe the player count for Fireteam wasn't great in Black Ops Cold War, which had Activision second guess releasing essentially a big Fireteam Warzone map to replace Verdansk. Maybe that's what happened, but Fireteam Elimination is essentially small battle royale matches on the individual Fireteam maps. So it'll have no loadouts and will have a blackout type feel to it. I'm very excited for that, and I think that could be something that I get really addicted to, just how I was with Blackout back during Black Ops 4. So let's see what happens with that. I definitely think Ural Mountains is still on the table. They haven't wasted development on that experience since all the individual Fireteam maps are releasing anyway, but seeing all those maps combined could make way for a potential 250 player battle royale experience, which I wouldn't mind seeing whatsoever. Activision's president also said in an interview that the company has been investing extensively in Anticheat for Warzone, also working to have better communication with the community. So this was worded a bit weird because Warzone does have an anti-cheat, it's just not a great anti-cheat. So as I said many times in the podcast too, let's change the narrative from Warzone needs an anti-cheat to Warzone needs a better anti-cheat, because one exists and they've banned hundreds of thousands of players by now, but the fact that Warzone is free to play just means those players are going to come back time and time again, creating new accounts and hopping onto Verdansk and Rebirth whenever they please. So I can definitely tell you for a fact there were hackers and cheaters already playing Rebirth Nights as of yesterday, so it's still an issue. I'd also love to see them invest millions of dollars into better servers for Warzone, since that server queue issue had players not being able to take part in either Part 1 or Part 2 of the destruction for Verdansk. And that's a bit unacceptable for a AAA company and a billion-dollar franchise by now, right? But I am a fan that they're working on better communication when it comes to cheating in the community, since looking at the Sale 630 nuclear bug that affected Black Ops Cold War Zombies a good couple of weeks ago, that was a big controversy. At first, they were denying the fact that that bug had anything to do with going to high rounds in Zombies. It was only on PC, but it was definitely a problem that got proven by many people in the community. And finally, after a bunch of outcry, they came out and said, you know what, the issues are connected and we're going to work on restoring players that got unfairly banned just for playing the game. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the different form of marketing that went into Season 3? They dropped all the trailers after the fact that the season was already released, but how do you feel about the storyline being presented with Black Ops Cold War and Warzone? How do you also feel about the confirmed release dates of DLC 2 Zombies, as well as the other announcements regarding Verdansk 84 and the possibility of seeing Buried? Really hope you enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.